What if I told you that the pursuit of pleasure as the highest good wasn't born in the salons of Enlightenment Britain, but in the serene gardens of ancient Athens over 2,000 years earlier? Before Jeremy Bentham calculated happiness with his philosophic calculus, before John Stuart Mill nuanced it with ideas of higher and lower pleasures, there was Epicurus, quietly redefining what it meant to live a good life. But did Epicurus lay the groundwork for modern utilitarianism? Or are these two philosophies only superficially aligned? Let's unfold the story of pleasure, morality, and legacy across centuries. Welcome to the unfolding journey, where we explore the roots of ideas that shape our world. From ancient wisdom to modern theory, we trace how philosophy evolves and resonates today. If you're fascinated by the echoes of history in our present-day thinking, you're in the right place. Epicurus, 341 to 270 BCE, was a Greek philosopher who founded a school in Athens known as the Garden. He taught that pleasure is the beginning and end of a blessed life. But, and this is crucial, his concept of pleasure was far more nuanced than the hedonism of pure indulgence. To Epicurus, the highest pleasures were not extravagant or sensory but consisted of ataraxia, peace of mind, and aponia, absence of bodily pain. He argued that we should live modestly, cultivate friendships, and seek wisdom. For Epicurus, the goal was a life free from anxiety, especially fear of gods and death. He advocated for rational hedonism, where desires are evaluated, natural and necessary desires, like food and shelter, are pursued, while vain desires, like fame and wealth, are to be avoided. Fast forward to the 18th and 19th centuries. Jeremy Bentham, an English philosopher, declared that the moral worth of an action depends solely on its contribution to overall utility. That is, the greatest happiness for the greatest number. Bentham devised a hedonic calculus to measure pleasure quantitatively, its intensity, duration, certainty, and so on. Pleasure and pain became the moral compass. John Stuart Mill refined this further, arguing that not all pleasures are equal. Intellectual pleasures, he claimed, are superior to bodily ones. "It is better to be a human being dissatisfied than a pig satisfied," he famously wrote. Mill also introduced elements of justice, liberty, and qualitative happiness, making utilitarianism more complex and, some argue, more humane. So, is there a direct philosophical lineage from Epicurus to Bentham and Mill? In some respects, yes. Shared hedonistic foundation. Both traditions place pleasure or happiness at the center of ethical evaluation. Naturalism. Both reject divine commandments as the basis of morality. Epicurus was an automist and materialist. Bentham and Mill were secular thinkers. Anti-asceticism. Neither philosophy supports self-denial for its own sake. Moreover, both Epicurus and Bentham believed that ethics should aim to minimize pain and maximize pleasure, but within reason. Despite their similarities, Epicureanism and utilitarianism differ in significant ways. Individual versus collective focus. Epicurus focused on the individual's tranquility. His ethics are about personal well-being and subjective peace. Utilitarianism is aggregative. It's about the greatest good for the greatest number, even if that comes at a cost to some individuals. Quantitative versus qualitative pleasure. Epicurus warned against overindulgence, suggesting that simpler pleasures lead to more lasting happiness. Bentham embraced the idea of calculating and maximizing pleasure quantitatively, while Mill introduced qualitative distinctions among pleasures. Moral obligation. Epicurean ethics do not impose moral duties to others. Altruism is secondary to personal serenity. Utilitarianism sees morality as obligatory. If an action doesn't promote the greatest good, it's not just unwise, it's immoral. Public policy and social reform. Epicureans often withdrew from public life, viewing politics as a source of disturbance. Utilitarians like Bentham were deeply engaged in reform, prisons, laws, animal rights, grounding ethics in public utility. It's tempting to call Epicurus a proto-utilitarian, but that would be a stretch. His ethics were not designed for governing societies or crafting policy. They were prescriptions for individual well-being. Still, his rational, secular approach to ethics, and his attempt to naturalize pleasure as the good, laid the philosophical groundwork that later thinkers would expand upon. We can say that Epicurus was a precursor in spirit, if not in structure. His view that pleasure is the good anticipated utilitarianism, even if he stopped short of developing a full-scale moral theory applicable to societies. Why does any of this matter now? because debates about happiness, morality, and responsibility continue to shape our world. Should governments aim for the well-being of the many? Is personal happiness a valid moral compass? Can pleasure ever truly be measured? Or should we, like Epicurus, be cautious about its pursuit? From mental health to public policy, from ethical consumerism to social justice, the tension between personal serenity and collective happiness is alive and well. Understanding where these ideas came from helps us navigate them more wisely. If this journey through the hedonistic ethics of Epicurus and the utilitarian visions of Bentham and Mill sparked your curiosity, we invite you to keep exploring with us. Subscribe to The Unfolding Journey for more stories that reveal the hidden roots of today's biggest ideas. Backhand index pointing right, like the video. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Epicurus was a proto-utilitarian? Hit the bell so you never miss a new exploration. Until next time, stay curious and keep unfolding the journey.